Good afternoon. My name is Ashish. I represent a company called Craving Digital. We are based out of Mumbai and always welcome for a Mumbai to come to Delhi and have a little bit of a winter experience. So happy to be here. What I intend to engage in a conversation with a very select few people out here is to primarily understand that how digitization is having an impact on the marketing communication. Just to set the context, are any of you from a manufacturing or OEM space? Okay, fine. So, generally, most of the marketeers think about communicating about the brand or the product, both in a B2B as well as a B2C communication, wherein they have to get into a expensive photo shoot. They might have to look at recreating the environments in which the car or the two-wheeler needs to be seen. And at the same time, there's a lot of technical communication which they need to do because the communication is needed by the sales team, by the training team, dealers. So there is a B2C communication and there's a B2B communication. And all of this becomes extremely expensive because logistical cost, product availability cost, all of these factors become very prohibitive. What they generally do not understand is that the source of truth lies within the marketing companies, wherein you could use your design asset, which is your CAD data, and repurpose that into a marketing asset. And I think so. This is the biggest benefit what digitization has been able to offer to the marketing communication fraternity, largely within the automotive as well as the non-automotive space. But I will restrict the communication for the automotive space for the time being. Uh, what we do essentially is that we repurpose your design asset, which is your CAD data, and translate that into a marketing asset for you. That gives you significant amount of flexibility, significant amount of cost savings and scale, because you're able to churn around content which is personalized, which is an omni-channel content, and it can get into any format, whether it's video, static, point of sale, or any other form of communication. So that's the sort of a synopsis or an executive summary. I will dwell through some real life examples. Look, please feel free to interact and ask any questions during the presentations itself, or even after that you have any questions. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. uh, I generally start with this fact because I think so that is one of the big challenge which most of the industry faces, that it's very easy to be creative. Anybody can be creative these days, thanks to Google, thanks to the world wide web. But how do you execute it? And I think so this is where most of the uh, I would say fallout happens, which is why I say that creativity without execution is pure hallucination. As a company, we always focus on getting the execution part correct. uh, as I told you, what we are or what we do is that we work with a lot of emerging marketeers. Some of the clients with whom we work with is Tata Motors, Daimler, Nissan, Hyundai in the four-wheeler space. In the commercial space, we work with Bharat Benz, obviously both buses and trucks. We work with Tata Commercial Vehicles. We're working with JCB in the construction equipment space. But we work with these emerging marketeers, and the idea is to give them excellence in terms of content, which is why we call it as content partners for emerging marketeers. What we do is a very simple three-line messaging. We help you craft your content story because we believe that advertising is a subset of content. Content is the larger gamut on which most of the marketeers and consumers want to engage with a particular brand or a service, and hence we help you craft your content story. We do it not by the conventional route of saying that let's take the car out for a spin between Manali to Leh and do a travelogue series and all that stuff. That's possible. But what we do is that we recreate that in the confines of our studio in Andheri, which gives you significant cost savings, significant flexibility, and of course, speedier time to market. And all of this is done through the 3D workflow, which is where the digital aspect or the digitization comes handy. Do we really solve any problem for any marketer? What you see is a Creta ad which has been created exclusively for Hyundai, which is trying to reposition Creta as one of the, I would say, inspiring SUV. If you notice, the stance of the SUV is very different from the conventional creative messaging which you see. How it has helped Creta, and not just Creta, many other brands with whom we work with, it helps them with a better business outcome, which is obviously relevant to sales, numbers, and at the same time better business outcome, which is where the customers say that, oh wow, that looks to be a decent car, I would want to buy it. So that's the better business outcome in terms of sales as well as better customer experience, and all of that is created through pure digitization process, right? Few years back, this is the kind of communication which used to happen, and I've deliberately taken those brands because we have actually worked with all of these brands to enhance their experience. How do you show that your car has more space? I would say this is very elementary, but this is an advertisement. This is not something which is drawn by a kid. This is an ad on which the brand like Toyota has invested money, not just in terms of creating the ad, but also invested money in buying the media space, which is far more expensive. Very elementary, right? Now imagine if you had the power of 3D, the same brand, when it shifts to the 3D space, you are able to recreate this communication and look at the comparison. And the reason I say this is because a lot of brands do not understand that they fail to dip into the 3D asset. And one of the reasons being, that's a very human um negative part, is that we work in silos. So the design department doesn't talk to the marketing department, doesn't talk to the engineering department, whereas the fact is that the answer lies within. You are sitting on your CAD data. Without CAD, you would not be able to manufacture the car. Without manufacturing, you would not be able to sell the car. So why don't we just connect the dots and engage all three stakeholders by engaging at a design level? And here's a classic example of how Toyota had benefited by engaging with us at a design level so that we are able to give them benefits at the marketing level. Yeah, that's just one of the examples. Some of the other benefits which this whole process does is that it gives you significant amount of personalization, and personalization at scale. A majority of the content which we consume, and I'm using the word very carefully, content, not just advertisement, we consume on mobile screens, and our mobile is a very personalized space, unlike television. So each one of us has different choices, different cookies installed on our handsets, which allow us to get the communication which we would love to see. Like in this case, when Punch, which is incidentally the largest selling car now in India, the entire communication has been created by our team based in Mumbai, wherein we have created personalization for them. When you're looking at a car which can carry your bicycle for a select set of audience, to a car which can actually take you on your favorite destinations, or it could just be a studio shot to the left, or you're talking about a charging shot which is giving you perspective of how. All of these four shots have been created from the CAD data. So there was no need to ever take the car outside the factory in Pune and even consume the cost in terms of logistics and all those issues. So here you see you're able to create personalization at scale. There's a simple video which will talk about how this was brought to life. Yeah. So they wanted to, this is again a camo edition, which is a very specific edition. We dipped into their complete data and then created these set of visuals. If you look at the outcome, this is the kind of engagement you are able to get, which is organic engagement. Correct. So when I say that we help you improve your business outcome, it's not just coming from my belief, it's coming from the data, which is coming across most of your social media or your digital followings. So what you see is what you get. And the best part is that you're using your existing CAD asset without spending money in terms of creating any of those assets. This is second benefit, that it gives you significant amount of storytelling, because as consumers, we always engage better with story, right? We love to hear stories, right? From childhood till the time, we are dead. We love to hear stories. And advertising is nothing else but telling you different stories. This is where our content solutions is able to help the brand significantly. This is a piece of work which we recently did. Have a look at it. This is for Hyundai range of cars which came just before the IPO. The idea is to talk about the range which the product today exhibits for Indians, right from Verna to Tucson to Creta, and imagine these cars in environments in which they would love to be driven. None of this needed the cars to be taken to any of these locations. So it's completely simulated, created from a studio based in Andheri. It establishes the range of cars, it establishes the colors, it establishes that there's a Hyundai for every Indian. And all of this is done completely in a secured 3D environment without the data ever getting, there's no fear of data getting lost and all that stuff. In a conventional world, creating this piece of content for Hyundai would have costed them anywhere in the range of about 1.5 to 4 crores, depending upon where you shoot, right? This has come at maybe about 10% of that cost. Just to give you a perspective in terms of how much time, money, and creative flexibility, importantly, you're able to create. That is why I said better storytelling. Yeah. Multi-channel integration, because today you don't just talk to a consumer on a mobile billboard or for that matter on a print ad or through dealer. The consumer is everywhere. It's on mobile phone, it's on social media, it's on YouTube, it's on print. So you need to have a multi-channel integration for your content. You can't just say that I will only talk to them at certain location. If you dip into the CAD data, which is the design asset, you are able to do that across every single channel of communication. Here's a case study which we did, which is talking about the work for Tata Motors. We call it virtual content production because you're doing everything virtually without necessarily ever needing to shoot the car. So this is just the punch example, design asset to marketing asset. So these are images which have been created for billboards. Then you could further go ahead and create accessories for the car. You could get inside, talk about the various mood lights, ambience lights, safety features, take it to mobile, which is the next frontier in terms of communication. Configure your car, what color you want, what interiors do you want, how does it look, take a virtual spin through in the interior and exterior of the car. Integrate it in live action. This is a piece of work which we did to launch Nexon EV in India. Of course, this is live action, this is not 3D. Then you talk about engineering and tech communication, which is extremely important. And then you move into Unreal animation, which is taking you towards the, photorealistic work. So this is running across dealerships in the form of TV screens. It is running across YouTube pre-rolls. So all of that work is currently happening, which is why I call it multi-channel integration. So that's the third key benefit, which is multi-channel integration. You also have a benefit of creating static assets as well as video and interactive assets, which is a good example here, which you could see once you have the asset, how you could translate that into a multiple asset category. I'm sorry, I think so there is a issue with this video. Uh, it's the same treatment, so I'm not going to labor much time onto that, but I'll quickly move on because I would love to have more round of interaction rather than just a monologue. So how we do this, very simple. I mean, you've seen the work, I think, so I would just take you quickly behind the scene in terms of what goes. How we do it is to keep all the eyes on future, that how technology is changing, which is why the topic of this talk is about how digitization is changing the marketing communication, correct? So we have a clear eye on future. We integrate with a lot of new technologies, which includes Unreal Engine, which includes 3ds Max, Autodesk, which is Autodesk Creator, Adobe. We also work with, you have something called Omniverse, which is created by NVIDIA. So we work with them in terms of creating Unreal related content. But at the heart is the 3D workflow, which means we essentially engage with you at a CAD level, which will give you an omni-channel content. So these are the technologies which I was talking about on the right side. And on the left hand side, these are all the brands with whom we work with. I have obviously kept focus on automotive, but we also work with a lot of categories in FMCG, alco beverage segment, consumer durable segment. Any product essentially has a lot of ways to engage with these technologies. This is taking you behind the scene in terms of how this typically happens. So this is what I told about saving you cost, time and money. This is just taking you behind the scenes. So we start at the design level, which is your engineering design data called CAD files. They're very complex files. So we have to first do something which is known as an optimization. And optimization is nothing else but, as a consumer, you really don't need to understand what's under the hood. So you just focus on the exterior shell and the interior and don't necessarily go with a heavy CAD. So we do this optimization process. Once optimization is done, then we move in terms of getting in terms of the shaders and textures, which you will see next. And all of this is a viewport from the existing softwares which we work in. We have a team of about 40 odd people who specialize in digitization, CAD, getting them in terms of creative visualization. And there are two ways we could engage. One is that when you give us the CAD. Now, a lot of brands may not want to give the CAD. We have a solution for that as well. This is where you get in terms of the final rendering. So the same CAD is imported into a real life situation, and you could visualize your car or your product into any given situation, any given environment, which gets you to the fine visual, and then move in terms of the animation should you want, because that video definitely is a big draw for most of the clients, and we specialize on video as well. You don't have a CAD. A good point is Hyundai. They don't believe in giving CAD because that's the design asset. What we do is that we shoot at the plant in Chennai, and this is an actual shoot image which you see on the right hand side bottom, and on the left hand side is a point cloud data mapping. So we are able to recreate the CAD, which is 99.99% accuracy. So your asset doesn't leave your factory. It is safely confined, but at the same time, you're able to create 100% accuracy or 99.99% accuracy of the CAD, which is approved by the design team, and post which we give the render passes and follow the same process to give you the output, which you saw here. Yeah, so it covers both the aspects, whether you have the CAD or you don't have the CAD. You have the CAD, obviously, but in case if the engineering or the design team does not feel comfortable, we have a solution that can be taken care of. Second challenge is creating environments. A lot of brands come to us by saying that, hey, but I need to show my car in a jungle. I need to show my car in a sort of a climbing a mountain. That's something which we do, which we call it as creating environments. So you don't need to shoot or look for a perfect shoot location. So all of these environments have been created. Like, for example, this is the tunnel talk, which was created for Hyundai. There's a desert scene which has been created for Tata Safari. This is a city scene which has been created for Tata Nexon EV. And all of this, if you see, is created 100% in a controlled environment. So no challenges of logistics, shoot related challenges, permissions. I mean, imagine if some of you were from an OEM, just to shoot a car, you'll need permissions. Traffic permission, EA permission, that's not required. You could simulate any kind of an environment like a desert scene, a chase sequence. So these are tailor-made environments which we can create for you. In case if you have a live talent, a lot of, I mean, I know as Indians, we are besotted with celebrities. So we need a Shah Rukh Khan to sell a Creta. So what we did was that when Shah Rukh Khan and Deepika were the brand ambassadors for Hyundai, the talent, the schedule of those talent didn't permit us to get the car out there during that time. So what we did was that we shot them in limbo environment and created the entire sequence in 3D. This is for Ayodhya when Ram Temple was inaugurated in the month of January. So we shot with Mr. Amitabh Bachchan in Mumbai and created Ayodhya in 3D for him. So he did not travel to Ayodhya, but they did sold Sarayu as a project in his name. This is Shah Rukh Khan. He did not shoot with the car. This happened in Bombay. We shot with him in Bombay, and the car was in Delhi or in Chennai, but we recreated the car in 3D. So that's, we don't have the talent. And here you could imagine any angle, you could imagine any sequence, and this cuts across industries. It's not just for automotive, it's for beverages and any other category. This is for Magnite. We recently launched Nissan Magnite in India and also X-Trail. So both the products have been launched. And the last, which I think so is technical com. Saurav, I think so we're running out of time. Okay. So this is a technical communication. I'll quickly skip through it because it basically talks about the communication in terms of the, this is for Tata EV, wherein they wanted to talk about how we have different layers of technology in the battery pack and how it helps you. Charging infrastructure, multiple body style, ADAS communication, which is more to do with your safety features. All of that, which is highly technical communication, need to be live because it's difficult to shoot them, difficult to recreate them in a real life situation. That's the entire Tata universe. This is across categories. This just gives you a breakdown of if you saw these images and you saw how they have been created. So this is giving you a breakdown for Jeep. We also work with Stellantis and Jeep. This is Jeep Compass when they launched in India. This is snacking, confectionery, home and textile, cosmetics, commercial vehicles. That's pretty much about what I want to leave you with, is that not to bore you with enough information and not to have poverty of your attention. Yeah. Open to any questions if you have. Just one slide. Do any one of you know what is a Michelin star restaurant? Or a Michelin star chef? A Michelin star chef is rating, saying that this restaurant is really good and this chef is really good. And that Michelin rating was initiated by a tire company. Now come to think of it, why would a tire company want to rate a restaurant? There's a content story behind it. But anyway, I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Really cool stuff. My question was more in terms of the trends that we are seeing in Gen AI.
Sorry, can you speak a little louder, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Hello?
better.
Yeah. So my question was more in terms of the trends that we are seeing in Gen AI right now. This is really cool work. I'm just interested, like, how do you see Gen AI kind of augmenting the work that you're doing, or is it something that you feel as a disruptor in the long term in terms of generating this, this?
Pretty good question. In fact, if you remember my first slide, it was creativity without execution is hallucination, correct? Gen AI, or for that matter, any of the AI tools have a tremendous possibility and a tremendous promise to actually help you visualize situations which otherwise would be difficult to visualize. But you still need execution. AI has a lot of challenges today. Limbs don't get correct. There are challenges. So I'll give you a classic case. If I today go to Midjourney, or if I go today to any of the, you're talking about Midjourney or any of the AI tools, any of those tools, you type a brand, say I want to see a Hyundai Creta in a jungle environment. I can guarantee you will not get a Hyundai Creta. Okay, you will get a visualization of a Me Too looking car, which could be an SUV, and in a jungle environment. So you get the visualization part pretty well, which I think so is a very big thumbs up when it comes to the use case of AI. The challenge is that can you integrate Gen AI with 3D? That's still a question mark. We are working on that part right now, and hopefully we would be able to evangelize the whole process by integrating 3D data with Gen AI, which is marrying 2-3 different workflows. So to answer your question, I do see any AI to be an important ally to have on your side, which will aid your process of visualization. But you still need to have access to CAD if you want to expedite the process of execution and delivery and help you save time, cost, and be flexible.
But have you already started using it and seeing any performance gains?
Absolutely. In fact, we are, as I told you, we are integrating CAD. So the same question which I asked you, I asked my team that can I give an input of a CAD data, because what is AI? AI is residing on big data, right? Unfortunately, the big data, which is the CAD for Creta, is not available in a global world, which is the reason AI fails. I bridge that gap because I have the CAD. So once I give the CAD as an input, my big data is getting trained on that CAD. And soon you will realize that it will give us visualization and final execution, because execution is a function of creative skills plus your GPU skills. You know, how much of GPU can you actually put to power? So if you marry those two skills, soon I think so within a span of 6 to 8 months, by maybe hopefully by next Bharat Mobility, you would have a workflow from us only. So it's happening.
Thank you. Thank you again.
You represent which industry?
So we are doing something. We are creating AI agents for different industries, auto being one of them. But the
Wonderful.
future for us, like the way we see it, is that eventually agents will be very smart to take care of a lot of work that we do already, and it's only going to leapfrog different people and do much
Okay.
much
So are
more.
you visitor here or
We
exhibiting?
have an exhibition here. I mean, we
Sorry?
have a stall. We are just around. I think it's in the same floor.
Okay. We'd
It's
love to catch up because we are doing quite a lot of work on AI. We have a stall here. So
yeah.
most welcome.
I'll come. I'll come around. Yeah.
Sure. There was another question, I believe. Okay. Great. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.